OneNote, etc., Word, and, Google Docs, wherever you want to. But it would be a lot easier if you just had a section where you can get all of this information at once. And so that is where the Lua Nova textbook comes in. And yes, I know I have an episode about textbooks and creating your own manifestation textbook, but this is not the same thing. This is about just a bunch of information such as crystals, herbs, etc. There's going to be more to it. Those are just the two that are in there right now, where I talk to you about, where I add in areas that could be helpful to you. Another area that I added are the phases of the moon and how to work with the phases of the moon. So areas like that. Okay. The next thing is journal prompts and affirmations. Obviously, I have given you journal prompts and affirmations on this show all of the time, but there are oftentimes affirmations and journal prompts that don't make it onto the regular episodes because then it would make the episode way too long. Whenever I come up with this information, it is oftentimes much longer than anything that I put in the show. I will give you 10, but then I still have 20 more journal prompts that I didn't go over because I didn't want it to run so long. I didn't want the episode to run so long. So now there's a section of the Lua Nova Patreon where you can get these journal prompts and affirmations. And I'm excited about that part because I want somewhere to be able to share that information with you. The next area is an area that my team gave a special name to, and I find hilarious. It is called Josie's Hotline. Now, this is not where you're calling in or anything, but I think that would be perfect for if I did have a section of that. As you all know, my name is Josie. And sometimes I just want to have a casual chat with my listeners. That's just about life. That is just about what's going on for the day. And I wanted an area to put that in. So this is basically a casual chat with me. And so far there are 2 clips on there. There's definitely about to be 3. I'm going to be recording one today. There is actually the Lua Nova podcast link. This podcast is free. You can listen to this podcast every single Monday, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts for free. You do not have to join the Patreon. And for people who come across my Patreon, I wanted there to be a link to the show so that they can just click on this show right here and listen to it for free. So that's all that is. The Lua Nova Tarot Gallery. So I understand everybody's not familiar with tarot. And you might be like, I don't know what this card looks like and I wish that I did. And sure, you can take a moment to look it up on whatever search engine that you're using, but you can also just go to my Patreon where I will have pictures of what tarot cards I'm referring to. Please keep in mind that I did not create any of those images. They are pulled from certain people's tarot decks and I just added them so that you can see what the card looks like that I'm referring to. Okay. The Lua Nova scrapbook. This is, basically pictures and events, etc. that are related to Lua Nova. Some will be related to my personal life. There's, for instance, a screenshot of a mental health app that I really enjoy using. And I didn't want to recommend it on here because, to be honest, I'm not being paid to. So I recommended it on there and showed you what my progress looks like on that app. Lua Nova visual aids. Again, these are images that I did not create. But whenever I talk about something like EFT tapping, you need to see what it is I'm referring to sometimes. So, because everybody that listens to my show is not necessarily super advanced when it comes to manifestation. A lot of you are, but there are quite a few of you who are new. And so I wanted you to have an area where you can see what I'm referring to. Okay. And there's quite a few images in there. So, because they're the visual aids. I could put them in with the textbook, but I didn't want to confuse it all. So whenever you open the Patreon app or the Patreon website, you will see collections. And under collections is where you will see every section that I am referring to right now. So you're going to open collections and right at the top, you will see the Lua Nova textbook section and then the journal prompt section and then the Lua Nova pet memorial section, etc. Okay. So moving on, there is the Lua Nova guided meditations. Now I do plan to add more to this, but I used to do quite a few guided meditations in season 1. and I wanted to bring them back, but I would prefer for them to be on the Patreon so that it doesn't make that episode run very long. Now, if it's just a guided meditation that I'm doing that week, then I'll put it here on this podcast. But likely it is just a part of that episode. So this is why the Lua Nova guided meditations were created, so that they have their own section. New Moon Notes. This is where you get to suggest to me and to my team episodes that you would like for me to do in the future. Are there certain types of readings that you want me to do? Do a reading on X's. Do a reading for the upcoming winter months, etc. So that is where you get to give us your feedback on what it is that you want for the show. Schedule a personal reading. Now, of course, you get to schedule a personal tarot reading with me by going to the Lua Nova website. But if you are already on the Patreon and you want to schedule a personal reading, this is also just another area to do that at. Whenever you schedule a personal tarot reading with me, that email goes to my team. My team then sends you a consent form and you set up your payment, and then they book that tarot reading with me for you. Okay. The other side of the moon. Now, you might be familiar with the other side of the moon episodes because I've mentioned them a few times by now. The other side of the moon episodes are extended episodes of regular episodes. So, for instance, I don't know if the crown chakra episode is going to have an extended version. I don't remember. But if there is, that will be under the other side of the moon section of Patreon. New Moon News. So anytime that there are announcements or updates, that is where you can go to, is New Moon News. And it has a gorgeous horse in front of the moon. I want you to join Patreon just to see that image. Because it is gorgeous. I want to leave it up there, but it says 2025. And so next year I'm going to have to switch that out, I think. Otherwise, you know what I'll probably do? Just crop out that part. Chakra healing meditations. That is a section of the Patreon where it is exactly what it says. It is chakra healing meditations. So I created some meditations for you that are guided, and I hope that you enjoy them. One of them is for all 7 of the primary chakras. And I think that that would be probably the most helpful for people who are new to meditation and new to learning about the chakras. Collective oracle readings. That's another image cover that you all have to see. Every single collection has a cover. And the covers I actually put a lot of work into. So the cover for this one is Santissima. And in the back of her is a neon sign that says Lua Nova. And that is one of my favorite images of all times. But anyway, the collective oracle readings are essentially a more in-depth reading than what I do here. Whenever I do a free collective reading here, I don't include my oracle decks. But in these readings, I do. So that's fun for me because I like my oracle decks. They're a lot of fun. They have a lot of funny sayings, etc. on them. So I like that I get to incorporate those in. And again, whenever you go to the collections part of Patreon, that is where you are going to see each collection that I just went over with you. Okay. And yes, there are going to be many more to come. And I update these at random. There is no set schedule for any one of these sections that I just went over with you. Okay. And the last collection is one that anybody can pay for if they want, but you absolutely don't have to. And it is called Magic for the Revolution. Magic for the Revolution. These are powerful spells. This is why they're behind a paywall. Like, whenever you pay your $5 a month, you have access to every single collection except this one. Because this one is its own body of work. Okay. And these are a collection of 8 spells that I hand wrote and then uploaded them for you. And they are powerful protection spells. And now more than ever, they are necessary. That is why they're behind a paywall, that I do not want just anybody being able to access them. Again, when you join the Patreon, that's $5 a month. And you have access to everything except that collection. Okay. Now you can pay for that collection. I'm just letting you know that when you see that one's behind a paywall, that is why. Okay. I just figured I would answer that question for you. For those of you who might be wondering, every other collection that is on this Lua Nova Patreon, you have access to the second you pay your $5. There are no ads.